Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ginger Garner here with another hip hack pose of the week. I'd like for you to tie a TheraBand or a yoga belt or an actual belt or a scarf, something, around your lower rib cage here. And I want you to take a breath. I want you to breathe into your back ribs, not your chest. Breathe into your back ribs. Make your ribs lift like bucket handles out to the side. So if you can do that, silent and visible breath here, and silent and visible breath really here. You want the visible part of your breath to be here, while still having it be silent. This is going to help us unload and recruit the pelvic floor enough to work on core stability and strength, hopefully without aggravating the pelvic floor at all, especially if you have hip pain, pelvic pain, back pain. So this video is for you. If you're having hip flexors, snarky psoas is what I like to call it, even though there's more than just the psoas involved. This is what, this could help if you've got tightness and rigidity, kind of if the inner thigh muscles are tight, if the hip flexors feel tight, if this feels tight and closed down when you try to, dig in a little bit. This is an assisted bridge that looks a little different than usual. It's one of my hip hacks that I teach people when they've got such tightness here, but then weakness back here that's contributing to their hip pain, pelvic pain, back pain.
Now, when you're doing this, I want you to continuously feel that you are back rib breathing. Come up to your ball and then rest on it. Put it right, or come up high enough to get the ball underneath you. Rest so it's under the sacrum, not your low back. Okay? It's got to be under the sacrum, the low back. Put your thumbs into your hip creases. And now lift one leg. Do you feel the muscles pop into your thumbs right here in the hip crease? Lift the other leg. You feel those stringy muscles pop up. I want you to feel one side versus the other. If you have hip pain, usually on your involved hip, those muscles are going to be on more. If you have global low back pain, pelvic pain, it all might be turned on and feel thick and painful to touch and to massage and to get into. So I want you to leave your thumbs here and bring your fingers around your glutes. I'm going to lift, not entirely off the ball, but just enough to lift and take the weight off the ball while not firing my hip flexors and then back down. So in other words, I'm going to use my glutes to lift enough, but not to fire the hip flexors in the front. And the whole time I'm going to be back rib breathing, not chest breathing, not belly breathing. This is called umbrella breath. You can also watch this video on YouTube as well. So you lift and lower. I'd repeat this 20 times or so, lifting and lowering with my thumb as the monitor, making sure that the hip flexors aren't firing. They're resting. The vast majority of the time when people come to see me for hip or pelvic pain or back pain from all over the place, I find that the hip flexors are just too much, too often, too early. They're just hyper. They're just misbehaving. So this little pattern helps you to down regulate, kind of calm down the hip flexors, like you're soothing someone by rubbing their back a little bit, or maybe petting your pet, right? Soothing someone. Same thing here. You're soothing the hip flexor, but you're working on up-regulating what actually provides stability for the hip. Okay. The psoas is kind of a sloppy stabilizer, okay? The snarky psoas can be a sloppy stabilizer. Say that 12 times. So that's what we're doing. We're working on the deeper stuff back here and then trying to let the sloppier stabilizers, the ones that like to be overactive, leaving those alone and allowing those to relax. All right, and then take that out.
Be careful coming back up to seated. I hope this really helps you understand that because you have tight structures up here, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stretch them. As a pelvic and a hip PT, of course I treat the shoulder and all the way up to the jaw and the diaphragm up here, but they're all connected. You know, as a PT that treats kind of this triad of the vocal, diaphragmatic, and pelvic, respiratory diaphragm and pelvic diaphragm, treating that little, that triad or trifecta means that nearly everyone that comes in has muscles that are overactive and some that are underactive. Now that's a gross oversimplification, but what helps is to identify how to down-regulate those muscles, particularly the hip flexors up front, without having to stretch them and irritate them and then kind of piss off a lot of other stuff too. So hopefully that'll be helpful to you, and until the next hip hack, take care, be safe, and if you like my YouTube channel, give it a subscribe. I'd certainly appreciate it. All the videos here are free. Have a good one.